It's kind of wild to think that it's only been 3 years since ChatGPT completely changed the game. It feels like a lifetime ago, right? Well, in that super short time, the world of AI has taken this massive, massive leap. Today, we're going to break down that journey from a simple chatbot to what is, for all intents and purposes, a new digital coworker. Let's jump in. This timeline right here, man, it pretty much says it all. Back in 2022, we were just blown away that an AI could write, right? Getting a machine to string sentences together that actually made sense, that felt like the peak. But now, the whole playbook has been thrown out. AI doesn't just write anymore. It does. It takes action. And that feeling back then, it really was pure magic. A machine writing a poem or a short story? It was unbelievable. But that brings up a really interesting question. If that was magic, what do we even call what AI can do today? How much bigger has that magic actually gotten? Well, let's find out. Okay, so first things first, let's take a quick trip back in time. To really get a handle on where we are now, we need to remember what that wow factor looked like just a few years ago. This right here was the peak. This was the kind of prompt from researcher Ethan Mollick that had everyone's jaws on the floor. An AI that could actually wrap its head around a completely bonkers creative idea like a candy-powered faster-than-light drive escaping otters, and then write a poem about it. That was it. That was the magic we were all so excited about. All right, so fast forward to today. What happens when you give that exact same silly prompt to a 2025 model, like Google's Gemini 3? Well, the answer isn't just a slightly better poem, oh no, it's something else entirely. The AI has basically gone from being a poet to a full-on programmer. And this right here is the fundamental shift, the part where your brain kinda has to do a flip. In 2022, the AI described the idea. It gave you text about a candy engine. Cool. But in 2025, it created something from that idea. It didn't just tell you about the engine, it built a working, playable video game where you were actually piloting a ship using candy as fuel to escape from otters. It's the jump from description to actual creation. This line just nails the difference perfectly. The AI isn't just a writer anymore, it's a builder, a coder. It can make things that you can interact with. And that ability to do stuff is what separates these new models from everything that came before. So this new power, this ability to do, it completely changes things. The AI goes from being a chatbot you talk to an AI agent that works with you. This is where we meet our new digital coworker. So what the heck is an AI agent? Well, to put it simply, it's an AI that doesn't just talk, it acts. It can pick up and use tools, especially coding, to get things done on a computer, all by itself. You give it the goal, you provide the guidance, and it does the heavy lifting. Now, you might be thinking, look, I'm not a programmer, so why should I care? Well, here's the thing you have to understand. If an AI can code, it can pretty much do anything you can do on a computer. Why? Because everything we do on a computer is, at its core, code. It can build you a website from a single sentence. It can whip up a PowerPoint from a messy document. It can read and make sense of all your files, or even just organize your entire workflow for you. So here's what that looks like in practice. The researcher just gave the AI a simple request in plain English. Make an attractive website listing my AI predictions. The AI didn't just start spitting out code. No. First, it came up with a plan and asked, hey, does this look good to you? Once it got the okay, it went to work, writing code, searching the web, building the site. And then the human came back in as the director, reviewed the work, and gave feedback. It's a real collaboration. Okay, building a website is one thing. That's impressive. But what about really complex analytical work? We keep hearing these claims that new AIs have PhD-level intelligence. So let's actually put that to the test. Can an AI do real, original academic research? So to figure this out, Mollick gave the AI an almost impossible task. He handed it a folder full of messy, decade-old research data with horrible file names and just a super vague prompt. Figure this data out and write an original paper about an important topic. He gave it 0 hints, no direction at all. He just threw it in the deep end. And the results? Well, they were fascinating. The AI definitely showed some PhD-level chops. It came up with original ideas, it wrote and ran its own code to analyze the data, and it spat out a 14-page paper. But
It also had the exact weaknesses you'd expect from a smart but inexperienced grad student. Some of its stats were a little shaky, and it sometimes got a little too excited and made theoretical leaps the data couldn't really support. It was brilliant, but it still needed a human professor to guide it.
And this, right here, is a huge deal. It means the whole conversation about AI's flaws is changing. We're not just worried about basic mistakes or so-called hallucinations anymore. Now, we're talking about more subtle, human-like problems. We're debating its judgment, its methodology, its strategic choices, the same kind of conversations you'd have with a human colleague.
So let's zoom out. What does all of this really mean for us? For our jobs? Well, this incredible leap in technology is totally redefining what our role is in the workplace.
This one line from the source material just says it all, doesn't it? We are officially leaving the era of the chatbot, that tool you ask simple questions, and we're walking straight into the era of the digital coworker, an agent you actually assign complex work to. And that means our job is changing. The old role for the human in the loop was basically to be a fixer. You'd spot the AI's mistakes and correct them. But the new role? It's to be a director. You're the manager. You're the strategist. You set the vision, you guide the work, and you make the final call. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. This tech is here. This digital coworker is like sitting at the desk next to you, ready to go. So the real question isn't if it's going to change how you work, but how. If you had this new, incredibly capable coworker, what's the very first job you'd give it?